There we go. Not the best system we have here for notifying people of the start of stream, but it works, right? As long as we got everything ready. Alright, and one more spot. Alright. Hey there. It's Bart1212 and David46MS. Whoa! That was a bit of a noise in the background. Alright. Let's get ourselves situated, shall we? So, we started a little bit of a combat system this morning, and, well, we didn't get very far, because I didn't want to do too much. It was on stream, but you guys weren't awake, right? So, hey, Programmer 12. No, Programmer 122. So let's open Unity. I had some basic stuff going on here, alright? We had some idea where you could pick targets, right? And then there would be an indicator of whose turn it was in the queue. Now, unfortunately, that indicator is not working anymore. So what we're going to do is go to the battle controller. Alright, and there we go. Gotta get the battle control open. This is supposed to be a little more abstract than an exact thing assigned to one person, but hey, we'll fix that, alright? So let's just, yeah, let's see. What can we do with this? I think the first thing we're gonna do is, for now, I mean, we do want to have participants like this, but yeah, nah, it's alright. On draw gizmos. So, there seems to be a limit to the amount of gizmos that are drawn. Because once you draw enough of them, they just, they don't show up anymore, and I'll show you what I mean. This is, to draw at position vector 1, right? 1 in size, a either green or yellow wire cube, based on if you are the current actor or not. So if we go into Unity, right, and we hit play, you'll notice that I do have gizmos turned on in the top, right? And there is a small sphere visible on the players, but for whatever reason, you're not seeing a box below them to indicate their turn. So it looks like I'm gonna have to just take some of this stuff and put it on a canvas instead, because the gizmos are not really useful, you know? And I know that these participants are assigned, so I'm gonna have to do something a little different, okay? We could either do a 3D text, which is probably what I'm gonna do for a few of them. The characters are definitely gonna have a 3D text. But, I don't know. Let's see where we get, alright? So what we're gonna do is go to our character class. We're gonna scroll down. And since the gizmos is, you know, doesn't really do anything, let's close this off. What we want to do is on awake, we're going to add a new component that is sort of a debug information display, shall we say. So debug information display. And this is going to use a text mesh, with 3D text mesh. So private text mesh text. And I do believe the element itself script interface for the. Interesting, nice little description there. I suppose that means for the text mesh, but that's alright. As well, there is the chat in the bottom left of Visual Studio if you're wondering what's going on. Hey, B4U7, what's up? And Rooney2. That's why there's that little blue box, you know? So, text. What are we gonna do? Well, you see, text is going to be us adding a component. So, GameObject.add component Text mesh. Now, we might have to add this as a sub-object, but we'll see what happens when we do it in Awake, alright? And hey, welcome to the chat, Artushenko. Artushenko, whichever way you'd like it pronounced. If we press play, we should see a text mesh attached to the characters, but I don't know if it's applied to them or applied above them. No, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like there's a text mesh. So, let's see what happens. I think you have to add text as a sub-object. Yes, you do, because it has something to do with the mesh renderer. That's fine, that's fine. So what we're gonna do is say that so in fact we can do this really easy and say that var go is a new game object. I wonder how many parameters there are to this. And, oh, whoops. We're gonna say that the game object's new name is character label. And how many other properties do we have here? Creates a game object and attaches the specified components. That's what we're gonna do. So we can just apply a text mesh. I think we have to do type of. There we go. And that creates our new object here. And then we can say that the text is simply get component text mesh. There we are. Now when I press play, all four of the objects... nope. Interesting. They should have had a label attached to them, but I see what happened. There was no parent assigned. So assign the parent to us, and then assign the local position to be, which is us as well. So do like this, and then say it's also up, right? If you're getting a little error there, that's because, yep, assign the parent correctly, kids. Alright, so as we launch in, we press play, we look at our things, and they do have a text mesh assigned to them. Now, where is the text? Well, you see here, it's inside. So we're gonna have to move it. We're also gonna say something, like, hello world. So we're gonna have to put some properties on the text. Just have a look at them here. So if we say text dot, normally you would use a prefab, okay? The reason I'm hard coding some of these things is because I just want it to work. We can convert it into a prefab later, right? So a few things I'm gonna do is not set the text. We're more interested in setting a few of the things into it. Oh wow, send message. No, that's a thing for the game object, something completely different. So I know we do need to set the scale, so text transform local scale is going to be something like vector 3.1 times 10. And the reason you do this is because and we're gonna have to do this as well. The text, how do I explain it? It's, if you say it's 18 pixels at a 1:1 scale, it will draw it in like 1.8 world units, which is huge and pixelated. You scale it down to get crispness of text. It's a weird doing text in 3D. So text.transform, yes, transform.rotation is what do you do? I think it's camera main transform rotation? I don't know. There's something you can do where the text will always be facing the camera, and I can't remember if it's setting the rotation or negative rotation. Hello world is written into the box, and we cannot see the text because it is in the air, but it looked like, yes, this is following the camera. So we're gonna say the direction is up times 2. There we go, and then we're going to assign it to the text, something to do with the character. So text equals next target dot name. All right, very basic information we're going to put in the text. If next target doesn't equal null, then, and in fact, I'm going to do this like this. So say if next target dot name, question mark name, or nobody, ain't got nobody. Right, let's play. Right, now we get some information. Now, unfortunately, the rotation's a thing, right? That's just because the things themselves are rotating, so we just have to have it where the rotation here is reset per update as well. Now, things like this can be done in a other place called late update, and this is run called at the end of each frame update, because update by itself is called numerous times per frame, which is pretty expensive. So now we have some basic information, right? Enemy, enemy, enemy. Now that doesn't make much sense having the name over them, right? So we need to put some more information here, and the way you do that is using a string builder, because we need to put a lot of information together. So you have a private, and this is under the system.text.string builder, okay? Go like this. And we will call this SB. And we'll say it's a new string builder. You need brackets. So if we scroll down, we can, in our late update, instead use a... you can say, like, make sure the text is facing the camera. Say something, the string builder, here we go. So, say something, no. Ensure capacity of at least 128 on there. Now, the reason we're doing this is because we're resetting the string builder every time by setting the length to 0. Instead of, there's no reset unless you create a new one, and it's expensive to make a new one if you're going to use it every frame. So again, you want to minimize updates and reallocations. And we're going to say append line, which is the target. And we can do like this. Alright, and I do think we can put Tenery in line. Let's see, nobody. There we go. So you can have this kind of information just like that. The $sign here is something, again, a C# version 6 feature, where you can do string format without writing a whole bunch of stuff. It's called string interpolation. Now, it doesn't always work. This one is my fault. Equals SB to string. It will generally tell you when it doesn't work, though. I wonder if I can use copy too. Nah, anyways, target. There we go. Player, target, enemy. Now, we can center the text a little. There's a way to fix that. Simply set the text alignment to be center. And then the text dot... I don't know what you want to call it. It's not like spacing, it's like the anchor. And then this, you will use the middle center. What this should do is center the text exactly one position above the character. So again, we try in Unity, and the text is now much nearer the character. The angle of our camera is what's causing the confusion right now. As well, you can see the text is much higher than it need to be. So, let's do up 1, okay? 0 plus up. And then we're going to bring the camera down a little. Because this is ridiculous. There we go. 3, 4. 4, 4, minus 4, there we go. There we are. Now we can see everything, and the text is much closer to the characters. So again, that's our target, or this is our target, or that is our target. The AI does not face us correctly yet, and I wonder if it's just because of where it is. Let's try and move the player back. So we're holding control. This allows us to much easier drag these people. So we're going to position this more like a RPG battle, alright? I'm going to put everything together. All of the enemies. Like this. And then we're going to look in the camera. Aha! See? This is more what you would expect. And it looked like they're all actually looking at the player too. This is great. Alright, so let's give us some commands now. We're gonna do this by going to the game tab, and I'm gonna place some controls in the bottom right here. Now, these controls are not going to be regular controls. They're going to be with a joystick or a keyboard normally, but the mouse is going to be for something else. It's going to be for asymmetric play, where the person with the mouse is doing some different things. Hey, Juti. And for this, for the sadist K, welcome as well. Or for the sadist, you know, I guess. There we are. Make sure everything's working. It's very surprising that it's never working. What we're gonna do, we had an issue with facing the mic before, or not the microphone, sorry. Facing the characters at each other. There actually was an issue with that. Now, it's been worked out by making sure that the characters are always on one side from me, right? Before it was that they were on every side, and that doesn't work. Not when I'm just using dot to check their forward. Oh, just do have to fix something on the YouTube side of things. Here we are. There's, it's a bit upsetting that happens. Yes, yes, yes. You guys want more bits, but live coding can't have more bits. It's all very, very difficult. A very standard difficulty. Also, you know, hopefully everyone doesn't get upset about the Mario music. It's not... Yeah, no. It's pretty much Mario. Coming from, I don't know. I like it. Alright, back to what we got going on. For the sadistic. Oh, that makes more sense. Hey, Jokez, welcome to the channel. So, we got our enemies and we got our player here, right? What we're gonna add... Just scroll up there. To this, do need some controls. How are we going to implement those here? Well, only for the player, not for the character. So let's find the player. Oh, it looks like the chat is not showing up here. It usually does. That's annoying. Oh well. Did I finish the economy simulator? I wouldn't say that it's finished, no. Just, it's on the side at the moment. It's relying on pieces like this. They're all going together for a much larger project. So we're just doing the pieces in separate Unity projects to make them manageable, and then bringing the features together later. So the simulator for now has the crafting and mining of sorts, gathering, construction. It has all the things that it needs for now, but we need things like target picking and designating attacks and combat orders, so that's what's going to happen here. Now, it wasn't in... I guess we could do something simple with GUI for now, because you can't really tell. So let's go private void on GUI. We should do this with a canvas, okay? But I'm not doing it just yet. Hey, Paul. Alright, so how this works is... on GUI, you're allowed to use a lot of these GUI things, like GUI layout. And I might choose, I'm gonna begin an area. The reason you do that is you can move it around the screen. And I will use a new rect of... Wait, can this take them directly? Okay, good. It can't. You have to specify a rect. And the rect is just the height and width and the everything. So screen dot height, screen dot width. I think that's wrong. Yes it is. There we go. That is width by height. And width by height. And then the, we're gonna make it a small section in the bottom there. So simple 300 by 100 for now. We do want to see that it works. So GUI layout dot, there's an end area as well. Make sure you have the GUI calls in order. And then we'll just put a label here that says, attack. Just leave it simple. We just need to see that it's all working. Hey, and welcome back for the statistic. Just hit play. We should get a little label. Where is the label on the screen? That's the question. Doesn't look like it's anywhere, actually. So, this is one of the things about GUI. It's not good at all. You want to use, and I mean, I know it's just because I didn't put GUI correct, but you want to use Canvas. This is Unity 5. Alright, guys? It's not that difficult. You go to UI, and you make a panel. The panel is where everything is, right? So there's the canvas. You can ignore this for the most part, except you will want to set one option here, if I can find it. It is the scale with screen size. Then you're going to want to set a reference size. If you make it really big, then you're not going to have an option to scale down and vice versa. It's up to you what is the most important. So normally for me it's width and a little bit to the height is important. So I'm going to set panel. You want to fix that. Generally I make it dark, right? But the opacity, need to fix that. If we were a certain other game, we might pick, you know, a color like that. I do wonder if everyone remembers this certain other game. Of course they would. No one would forget. And certain menu stylings, maybe like that. Now, as per the panel, I'm going to hold Control and Shift and click in the bottom left to tell it that this is coming from the bottom left of the screen. So now when I set its proportions, you see, they are relative there. And now to move it, you see, you just give it a number. But the X is negative. Don't ask me why. So, negative 150. And 100 maybe? Maybe 50. 100. There we go. $350. There we go. So now inside the panel you can make a series of buttons, which normally is just text, right? And if you want to, you can even go over here. Where is it? Canvas is over there, you see? And move it in the world. Again, I hold Control to get exact coordinates and just move them around, you know? And the whole idea is that you can just show and hide these UI elements instead of having to worry about where to put things, having to destroy components using C#. It's very silly. Arial. Worth noting, the Arial font is only available on Windows. So if you're going to compile for anything else, make sure you download a font like Open Sans. Hey Disturbed, welcome to the channel. So what we're going to do now is Google something called Open Sans. Alright. And you'll see that this is the Open Sans font family. Right? And we're going to have to take whichever of these fonts we want to and put them inside the Unity folder. So I find myself using regular, semi-light, and semi-bold pretty often. I don't really find myself using the italic, but I might use extra bold this time. And it is the Apache license. It's a good thing to keep the license files with anything you download to make sure that you are in the right to distribute it. If you don't know, ask your lawyer. So we're going to put this here in the... which folder? Combat Systems. And we do not have a folder for fonts. That's alright, because there's not really many ever, so I just make the folder as need be. So there we go. Now if we go back to Unity, somewhere in here will be the fonts folder. There we go. Now make sure you change the font of every text component you want to use. So, you know that text component on top of people as well? I will have to reference the font for them. The easiest way to do this by far is to have a loader, because, reference it in the inspector. Doing with a loader is very difficult. Yeah, I'm saying the wrong way. So font, you see, requires it requires something called a font. So normally I just say like that, and then we have a public font. And I think, can it be static and I can still assign it? Let's see. No, but can I assign it on the script if it's static? Interesting, you seem to be able to assign protected fields in the inspector of viewing a script, but not static fields. So we'll just make it a configurable, and maybe you can have special font for certain characters. I don't know, we might be able to use that as a feature later. So now we can assign the font, and I'm going to use semi-light. Here, I'm just going to use light for now, alright? And that means we need to, as well, change it in our two prefabs here. And once in our canvas. There you go. Now, I think for the canvas actions, actually, I'm going to use a semi-bold and not the light. And the idea is just to show people what they're selecting. So there's a few customizations I'm going to make for a label in the combat system, alright? We're going to make them centered, middle centered, alright? And reason being is they're just going to have a box around them where they can show. Although, I know people don't like centered, people like left, but, I have bad vision. For me, it's visually cluttered. I'd rather see stuff separated a little, Then we will make it overflow, and that's main idea why we're centering them as well. Text, I recall, was white. Align by geometry seems to center better for text, so I suppose I'll use that. It's different per font, so you really just have to try. And then as per the default font size, you do not have to worry. Look at this. This does not suffer from the same problem that a 3D text does. It is not nearly as pixelated. You have to get very close to it, right? And look at that. As you pull back at all, it's not pixelated. And I suppose this will be attack. So now if we press play, you see, there's a small piece of text that says attack. It's not selectable, it doesn't have a background, any of these special things. Yeah, it doesn't need to. So we're going to add in this panel, one panel to put the text in. Alright? Now, this panel, I'm going to align to the top left. And I'm going to say it is 20 by negative 20. And the width is like 100. 160, 200. Do I really? Wow. The inside pivot is bad. That's alright though. I can fix that. The easiest way to fix a pivot on text, I'll show you right now, is just to say that the text fills the area. So hold Control Shift and click this bottom circle, and then reset the position to 0. Now, this only works because I've set it to overflow in both directions. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see anything right now with a width and height of 0. Right? So, well, I mean, what does that look like? Very basic attack button, right? Very, very basic. So, let's make a pointer now. So, what I'm going to do is call this... I can't. I can call this button, maybe? And I can call this label. But we need a pointer. Alright? Now, I also only wanted this for the border, so we're gonna pick... let's see, do I have an image that is just a border? No. Although I do have one that is much more round in the background. I will use that. And then we're going to change... I actually don't mind that. But I want to change the opacity because it is not great. So, this already looks interestingly close to a few games we could mention, which is not what I'm trying for. There we go. That's what I was more looking for, is an outline. So I have to change the image, but that's fine. So we have to change the UI sprite when you want to use an outline. I guess background works. And now if we change the opacity, we can make this like a selector. Simple enough, right? Do make it a little bigger. There we are. Now, hopefully we can pull the label out. Notice it didn't lose any of its position or anything. I do like to round those values a little better though. And then the selector, can get renamed. Hey, Jet Ski Steve. Ah, sorry there. We have now... what are we gonna do with this? Right. We have enough space to put maybe 4 of these. I just want to make sure the selector can go down an exact number, or the label can go an exact number, right? So we'll call this the attack label. And then I'll call this the defend label. We'll rename to defend, and then we'll move it until it looks good. So I think... Where was the first one? 60 is the bottom. How big is the whole panel? 120. Alright, that should do it. Ooh, a little bit of an error though. Where did we get the error from? Okay. Do not use the non-filled center sprites. They are currently buggy in the beta version of Unity. So you can change a type to something else. Probably simple with no background for now. Sort the label above it, and then we're gonna have to build our own little selector box, because using the sliced GUI type does not work in the beta version of Unity. Alright, we are gonna have to restart Unity. We've broken something in the editor, which happens. It's fine. Give me just a moment here. Hey! Is this like a war game? Yeah, maybe. Maybe you could call it something like that. Rukwi Tony? Let's... Come on then, Unity. There we go. And, yeah. Let's see if it runs now, or if I'm gonna have to kill the styling around the box. No, there we go. So, yeah, using the non-filled center has bugs right now, it's fine. So what I'm gonna do is that hopefully you'll be able to switch between them with the arrow keys, perhaps for the selector, or mouse over. Hey, Rukwi Tony, thank you for the follow. So the idea is the selector can be moved, perhaps with the arrow keys. So we're gonna have to add a script here called the menu script. Now I'll add that to the combat actions menu. So menu script has a bit of a dumb name, shall we say, because it has a script and it's a script file. So we're gonna have to rename that and then rename the class definition, but that's fine. I'm gonna also have to make a folder for UI elements soon. Right, give this just a moment. There we go. And this is a menu. So if we open menu, there we go, rename to menu. And we put this inside a namespace. Alright. Now one last thing is that this boilerplate is crap. I always take the boilerplate from one of my more filled files. So I suppose in this case, player. Which is just the inside here. These four methods. We have to worry about the player, not here. So we'll go down. We'll say... This was right-clicking, but we're gonna use... Do we want to use mouse over or the... arrow key? I think for now we'll use the arrow keys, okay? So if input dot get key down. Whoa, what's going on? You notice it's not highlighting anymore? There's something it doesn't like. What's going on? Come on, Visual Studio. There we go. So if input dot get button. Nope. Something's broken about Visual Studio. I hate when it does this. Open C# project. Pull it down from the menu. Basically, IntelliSense gives up. And I use IntelliSense to get very quickly around Unity without having to manually type. There we go. If input get button. Now we're actually working. Ah, that would explain what's going on. This is unnecessary. There we go. And what is this unexpected arrow in? There's nothing unexpected there. There we go. So the button, I think it's, in this case, axis. Horizontal. And what we're going to say is that, because this returns a number greater than, it's either 0 or 1, right? So we're going to say if it's greater than 0.1, so we have a little bit of a dead zone, this will say that you're going right. So we're going to say if you're going right or if you're going up, because currently the menu doesn't have another direction. So again, vertical goes up. then your selector index is minus. And then, alternatively, if they are in the other direction, your selector index is plus. And then the selector index, well, I mean, I capitalized it, but it doesn't need to be. So I'm going to apply it just using refactor. So this is menu index. There we go. Then, as normal, we say if menu index is less than 0, then menu index equals menu options.length. And if menu index is greater than menu options.length, it'll be -1. Then menu index is 0. This is a straightforward looping menu. So here, menu options, public int, or even int. How are we gonna do this? We could just do it as text objects, really. I don't have a, so you have to import here using Unity engine.ui. That's the one thing that's definitely missing. And then these are menu options. Options. There we are. And this needs to be an array. And they're just references, so it doesn't matter what I'm referencing, alright? So here we go. We need one more thing, which is the selector itself. And that is a... what is it? Also, we should capitalize this because it's public, so... options. There we go. And this can be a small index. Yeah, whatever. The thing is called selector, so it's a transform. That's all we care about. Selector. There we go. And we're not going to assign them in a way because we normally would, because we can just drag them in. And there we go. We have our labels. Now, I could just use their transforms, but this way I can assign some properties to them. Did my guy really just target... Oh, no, he didn't. It's just now you can see that the gizmo for his targeting is given up. Let me just check the beta page of Unity and see if there's an upgrade. Is the version I'm using outdated? They maybe fix these bugs? Okay, so there is one update I could do to Unity, so that's interesting. Alright. I'll download that in the background and we'll get along going. Hey there, Ridweb and 0x90, welcome to the chat. There we go. Let's get... what will we get more done out of this? Well, the index is there, but we're not moving the selector, so we need to move the selector. Selector.transform.position equals transform.position, so it's going to be options index.transform.position. Okay? And this should put the selector over the object you've selected. It's very simple, okay? But it doesn't work. Now I'll show you why. The positions are wrong. Look at the selector's idea of location. Okay? Its pivot is the top left. Then look at one of the text ideas of location. Their pivot is infinity. But really 0, 0, right? So, one of the things we can do is fix the pivot of the selector. And you'll see, now the selector rapidly changes location. And, well, unfortunately, it's because I have a lot of things selected. So we said that And this is why you can specify really large dead zones. There you go. I might also be flip-flopping it with my if. I'll have to look at that. Would look like that's what's happening. But we need to move defend up a little. So that was too close to the bottom of the window. And then it would appear like if the index is less than 0, then the index is the length minus 1. If the index is greater than the length minus 1, the index is 0. This is an else. Should not be applied. Not both of them. And then I'm just gonna take key codes because, you know, I probably have a device plugged in that's feeding incorrect key codes right now. So whatever. So instead, let's get the key code for up arrow. There we go. So we use the down arrow and left arrow to go minus. And the up arrow and the right arrow to go plus. So there we are. And now, see? I can go through there. Now, if you don't want to, you know, you should apply it just to key down to prevent some stupidity like that double or triple or just infinity menu movement. Then it's not frame rate dependent, you see? Up, down, left, 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 right, 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 right. Now, I understand we need more options before you're gonna know that it's going in the right order, so let's add some more options, huh? Let's duplicate these two. Just press Ctrl D, very simple. Then we're gonna take our action label. And, well, we're gonna call it items. This is a pretty obvious layout. Alright, and the distance from right is no longer 190. Okay. It's like that. I see how to move them now. You move them by moving the other direction. Items label says items. And then the other option should be run. And now, to add them into the menu, you click on the selector. Or, sorry, the menu itself, and you just add the items into the order they need to be. So I'm a fan of a column-based row order, but I could understand people wanting it to be left, right, left, right. Let's just try this then, huh? So as I press down, right, and as I press up, interesting. So we need to reverse up and down, because those are effectively backwards right now. There we go. Down or right, up or left. There we are. Now you can go through them as you would expect. Now, I could make it a 3D, right? Using a map with 2 get lengths. There's no point. Also, holy crap, did I just target the UI? Okay, good. I was like, hell no, I hope my player isn't literally just targeting a figment of the UI. Although it looks like he is. What's going on? Can I not target this guy, or is that targeting that guy? I can't tell if I'm right-clicking the camera or something, you know? Okay, good. It's definitely just one of those 3 people. Just an exaggerated head tilt right now. We're gonna have to look into that. But hey, you can make selections now. Or at least you can go up and down the list, right? So in theory, there'd be an option where you either press space or enter or something to click on your person is blue guy here, and then commit an action by selecting one of the opponents, right? So we need a few things from Blender. Let's go open up Blender. And oh, we need, what happened to the music? Oh no, it's still there. Here we are, and this is Blender. A terrible software. Enough said. So I have to insert an empty 0, 0. All right. This is the object which holds the world, and I'm gonna call this a target. Okay. Very simple. Underneath this object, just by creating a new object, I'm going to create a torus. Alright, and this is going to serve to be a selection circle. So I'm going to make it thinner and less vertex. 2 segments. That's an interesting shape, but not what I'm looking for. That's more what I'm looking for, because I can use simplify on it. Then, as per the actual selection faces, it looks like 4 is the minimum, and then we'll have to rotate it. And there we go. A bit of a selection box. Now we just change the radius, and it'll be easier. There we are. That shows the thickness of the box. I'm okay with this. Just a simple tile selector, right? And we can give it... we do need to actually drag the icon underneath our empty. There we go. Then we need to give it a material. So we'll call this target. We'll give it a little yellow highlight. So I guess full saturation, full value, and a hue of... what is yellow? Yellow is 0.16 apparently. There we go. So, in real things, we decided we're not specular. We're gonna have to make it glow. How am I gonna do that? Well, that yellow looks a little less yellow on stream, huh? There we go. Now it'll look less green. No, still looks green. God damn it. Alright, how about we just go here and reduce the green. There we go. Now that looks a little yellow on stream. So we're going to... Oh, we can't do that. Yes, we can. Actually, we can make it smooth. We just need to make sure to have it edge split. There we go. To make sure the corners are sharp. This should make the inside a little better, though. Yep. Make softer outsides. Now, one of the ways to fix this is not using decimate, although I wonder what would happen if I just decimate by 15 degrees. Does that fix our interior faces? 45? Yes, there we go. I think some of that's invalid though. Yep. That's invalid. So, we're not going to decimate like that. Because that's going to create a shape that's literally impossible. Yep. We're just going to leave it as is. I wonder if there's anything we can do to make it more random. Screw was not what I was looking for. Not unless the angle was like 5 degrees. Yeah, no, screw is not going to help. Hey Zavel, thanks for the follow. I was just looking for... yeah, like bevel? We'll make it a little more workable. That bevel's a little too ridiculous. Doesn't quite work out. Also means I'm gonna have to reduce the hard edges a lot. Let's see. Segments 2. Full profile bevel makes it on the outside. There we go. What happens if I make it more segments? Right, bevel's not helping either. We're just gonna do it with our simple ring. Our simple selection ring here. Let's just export this. So the way that I export things, okay, is first of all, save it, and then I just press F2. And the way I know it's saved is because the box is turned red. Now what this means is that if I go into my exported folder, which if I can find it, here we go. Blender exports, there it is right there. I like having Blender scripts, they make my life so much easier. So now I can just paste this into combat systems, assets, and geometry. There we go. Now it doesn't matter that it's a DAE file, and it doesn't matter that it's not an FBX. Okay? It really doesn't matter. You can use whatever format Unity supports. They're all the same. They all get converted anyways. Here we go. Here are 3 people on the ground. And we want to add a selection circle underneath the far one, because apparently that's our default target. Whatever. So right here, we're just going to go and take the prefab, take it out of geometry, drag it under the enemy, right? Then drag it over them. Reason I did that, 0.25. So now, look at this. We have our little selection cuboid, and I think if I put it at 0, does that put it halfway through the ground? Yes, it does. So if we make it like 0.15. There we go. Now it's just floating over the ground. And look, the color came through and everything. Now it came through a little more orange, but that's all right. Can make it yellow here. Although that's too green. I'm just not great at getting that good color. Oh well. Something. Maybe if it was glowing? There we go. Now let's look at it through the camera. Excellent. The idea is that based on who you had selected, the selection circle, or it's not a circle, but the selection object called target would show underneath your selection. So again, this one is fairly easily implemented. We just go to what is controlling your selection, which I believe is character. Let's go down and check that it is. Is it? No, it's in player. So we go to player instead, go to update, and say that when our target has changed, right here, instead, we will use something called set target. This will be a public. Alright, and we'll say C. And the reason is we don't want to have reusing code in many places when we can have it not that way. I'll show you why. There was one here. There was one more as well. Was it at the start? I don't know. There was something that automatically picked our target, but I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was part of the character script. So this is part of the character. So maybe even say character.setTargetC. Alright. Now if I go to character script, we'll have a method called setTarget. There's gotta be a place that I was choosing a target here as well. Find new target in view. Yes, but what about private void set target? And this is a character other. Then our target is other. There we go. And then we've picked a new target. There we go. Now let's go to the bottom here. Next target equals character. So again, this gets replaced with set target character. There we go. So we only need one more piece in this function. That is that when the target is selected, they have some indicator underneath them, alright? This will probably be handled by player. And it will be handled on update. What is that? Ah, yes, yes. This needs to be public because we're going to call it from other places. So go to character and just make set target public. I mean, it's explicitly how you're going to call it from the UI and everything. You may as well. So public things go at the top, makes them easy to access. That's why I put the Unity stuff all the way at the bottom. So now we have a target set. We will say that if character.nextTarget is not null, then highlight our selected target. Ooh. Have I ever worked with Unreal? Yeah, I've worked with Unreal a little bit before, and I found that it was great for making realistic colors, but blueprints just sort of got in my way and slowed down from just writing code. Hey, Mibizarro, I'm sorry, I'm not going to try and pronounce that name, Twista, Soeko, and Mostad. Welcome to the chat. Now, highlight our selected target. This is going to be using the selections. So, we're going to assign that as a public. Public selection is going to be a transform selection. Or maybe we'll call it like a target. There we go. And then we'll say that the target... Ooh, a sneeze. Target transform position was the character.nextTarget.transform.position, and we're just going to adjust a little bit. So plus vector 3.down. Okay, we're just gonna put a little bit underneath the target. So half down. There we go. Now target just needs to be assigned, which we'll do by clicking in here, clicking on our player, and assigning target. Now, I'm gonna do this instead through the prefab for player. Ooh, not the prefab. There we go. Whoop. Oh, wait. Of course I can't, because this is a transform it wants, not a... Normally I'd assign the game object and, you know, do all sorts of fun stuff that way, but this time, nope. So now if we hit OK... Ah, look at that. We have the ability to select targets. And some of our gizmos came back. Currently only the one for selecting a target, apparently. Oh well. We don't need some of that gizmo now. So let's scroll down here. And we don't need the yellow circle. There we go. But I will keep the line to the target. I don't mind that. So it looks like all of the player gizmos are broken, but the character gizmo works. Which, hey, each player should have... Actually, yeah, what if I get rid of this gizmo entirely? Okay. and just copy like this, delete this, and I put this on a character instead. Because I think it needs a gizmo more. I would rather know that the AI is targeting me while I'm testing them. So private void on draw gizmos. And we will say, if the next target is not null, then simply draw from us to the target a red line. Straightforward, right? We should have 3 red lines. There we go. That means they're looking at me. Now, why they don't actually look at me is interesting. Look rotation doesn't always work, huh? Not like this, at least. So let's try and have a see why look rotation is broken. Yes, it's because we are setting it badly. So let's try without setting and see what happens. We're all at the same height, so it should not be an issue, but they were rotating oddly before. So I'm rotating oddly. They're rotating completely wrong. You know what? I'm just gonna let that be for now. Because look rotation works. So you create a rotation with a specified forward and upwards. The forward being another position. I guess the forward should be the relative angle instead. Yeah, okay. So the issue is that the target angle is wrong. We'll just let that be. Rotation? Doesn't matter. You can rotate out of turn. That's changed now. Late update is fine. We don't need to specify any other information above their head yet. Oh yeah, is that working? Where did the... I wasn't paying attention if the text was still there. No. There is no text above anyone's head anymore. Interesting. Where did the text go? Alright then. Given the text is gone, let's get rid of this. It's not as necessary. What else is in the text? This, no longer necessary either. Because we don't need it. I mean, that's kind of obvious. There we go. We're going to save our scene. Press play one more time. See? Just wanted to make sure that we only had code we're using. The red lines show that the enemies have targeted me. Normally there would be an indicator of the battle order as well, but I'm going to have to make that indicator, right? And then you can use the up, down, left, right arrows to switch between your possible actions. And maybe, you know, there'd be some idea of a sub-menu or anything like that, but not yet. This is only like 2 hours in, 3 hours in. This is the 3rd hour, so, you know, I'm happy with the progress so far. This thing, the selection circle, we might as well have it be not here to begin with. So let's just put it negative 0.25. Negative 0.215. And 0 and 0. We'll just put it in the middle of the map, okay? Because you can't see it. You don't have to worry about it. The AI... It's interesting seeing them have to turn around like that. Alright. Well... I think that'll be it just for now, but... I thank you guys to join me at, you know... 1 p.m. British Standard Time and 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, as you can see there on screen, as well as any time like I normally do, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as well. I make sure to sort of get every time zone, okay? And, yeah. Most regular time used to be 11 a.m. But it looks like we're going 3 or 4 times a day now. It's great. So this was the Angry Albino, and you know, hopefully next stream what we'll have is some sort of attacking animation, an easier where the character moves forward to its target, you know, carries out its action and moves back, and then the targets each during their turn order do the same. So we'll see what happens. All right.